Well, the third presidential debate is in the can, thank God. Chris Wallace showed everyone what a real debate moderator is. Trump made some great points, and Mrs. Bill is still a horrible shrew with a serial killer's psychopathic smile. Let's wrap this up. Hello again, fellow American citizens. Well, last night was the last of the three presidential debates, and it was pretty good. Not quite the firestorm we Trump supporters were hoping for, but the Donald held his own. So let's get going with Trump's best moments. First up is immigration, and he addresses an issue I've been bringing up for weeks: drugs.
Drugs are pouring in through the border. We have no country if we have no border. I was up in New Hampshire the other day. The biggest complaint they have, it's with all of the problems going on in the world, many of the problems caused by Hillary Clinton and by Barack Obama, all of the problems, their single biggest problem is heroin that pours across our southern borders, just pouring and destroying their youth. It's poisoning the blood of their youth and plenty of other people.
Exactly. Trump's wall isn't just about illegal immigrants. Heroin is a huge problem in many parts of America, and a significant amount of heroin does enter our country through Mexico.
I want to build the wall. We need the wall. The Border Patrol, ICE, they all want the wall. We stop the drugs. We shore up the border. One of my first acts will be to get all of the drug lords, all of the bad ones. We have some bad hombres, bad people in this country that have to go out. We're going to get them out. We're going to secure the border. And once the border is secured, at a later date, we'll make a determination as to the rest.
Correct. Secure the border, get the obvious criminals out of the country, then we'll figure out where to go from there. No one wants to separate families, but that's jumping the gun. The first step in immigration reform is securing the border. Good job, sir. Next, Chris Wallace, who, to be honest, I didn't expect much from, called out Mrs. Bill on her open borders comment from the WikiLeaks dumps.
Secretary Clinton, I want to clear up your position on this issue because in a speech you gave to a Brazilian bank for which you were paid $225,000, we've learned from the WikiLeaks that you said this, and I want to quote, "My dream is a hemispheric common market with open trade and open borders." So that's the question.
Hell yeah, Wallace, thank you. That's exactly what I would have asked her. Excellent job.
Well, if you went on to read the rest of the sentence, I was talking about energy. And I do want us to have an electric grid, an energy system that crosses borders.
First, why the hell would we want to share our electric grid with anyone? Remember the East Coast blackout of 2003? Seriously? Yeah, let's share our electric grid with a third world country. That'll solve everything. Second, no, that's not what you meant. You're an open borders globalist, and we all know it. So again, Mrs. Bill confirms the authenticity of WikiLeaks documents. But of course, it doesn't matter what's in the documents.
You are very clearly quoting from WikiLeaks, and what's really important about WikiLeaks is that the Russian government has engaged in espionage against Americans.
No, these leaks weren't against Americans, only against corrupt Americans.
So I actually think the most important question of this evening, Chris,
is how someone as corrupt as you is able to keep getting away with it and actually running for president?
Is finally, will Donald Trump admit and condemn that the Russians are doing this?
No, I think my question is much more important, but prattle on.
We've never had anything like this happen in any of our elections before.
That was a great pivot off the fact that you want open borders, okay? How did we get onto Putin?
Gotta love the Donald. Chris Wallace then reversed the WikiLeaks issue by asking Trump to denounce any foreign country's interference in our electoral process, as if he had anything to do with the WikiLeaks dump. Well, whatever.
Do you condemn any interference by Russia in the American election?
By Russia or anybody else?
Well, there you go. He denounced it. Is that enough for you, libs? Of course it's not. Who cares? The topic then switched to the economy, where Chris Wallace put Mrs. Bill on the spot by saying her stupid plan sounds a lot like the Obama plan that has led to such anemic growth.
I want to pursue your plan because in many ways it is similar to the Obama stimulus plan in 2009, which has led to the slowest GDP growth since 1949.
Correct.
Thank you, sir.
Trump got a chance to put his dig in. Good on you, Chris. And look at their two faces after that comment. We then continued the economic discussion where Trump brought up the latest jobs report.
Last week, as you know, at the end of last week, they came out with an anemic jobs report, a terrible jobs report. In fact, I said, is that the last jobs report before the election? Because if it is, I should win easily. It was so bad. The report was so bad.
He should win, it's so bad. There are a record number of people outside the workforce in America right now. Barack's distorted unemployment figures don't tell the whole story. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reports that 94 million people are no longer in the workforce. Take a look at this graph showing this figure from 2006. Doesn't seem like Barack has done anything to put anyone back to work. This sharp increase under his failed economic plan should terrify all Americans, especially if Mrs. Bill just gets to continue down the same liberal path.
Look, our country is stagnant. We've lost our jobs. We've lost our businesses. We're not making things anymore, relatively speaking. Our product is pouring in from China, pouring in from Vietnam, pouring in from all over the world. I've visited so many communities. This has been such an incredible education for me, Chris. I've gotten to know so many. I've developed so many friends over the last year, and they cry when they see what's happened. I passed factories that were thriving 20, 25 years ago, and because of the bill that her husband signed and she blessed 100%, it is just horrible what's happened to these people in these communities.
As a resident of Michigan, I must wholeheartedly agree. Our factories are closed. Our people are unemployed. Detroit used to be the most prosperous city in America, and now it's a virtual wasteland. This country is nowhere near what it used to be, or what it could be. Why Michael Moore opposes Trump is a mystery. Trump then brings up the fact that Mrs. Bill has been in a position to actually make a difference, and yet has done nothing.
I ask a simple question. She's been doing this for 30 years. Why the hell didn't you do it over the last 15, 20 years? You were very much involved. Excuse me, my turn. You were very much involved in every aspect of this country, very much. And you do have experience. I say the one thing you have over me is experience, but it's bad experience because what you've done has turned out badly. For 30 years, you've been in a position to help. The problem is you talk, but you don't get anything done, Hillary. You don't. Just like when you ran the State Department, $6 billion was missing. How do you miss $6 billion? You ran the State Department. $6 billion was either stolen, they don't know. It's gone. $6 billion. If you become president, this country is going to be in some mess, believe me.
In fact, she's done less than nothing by losing $6 billion while she was head of the State Department. Trump then brought up her 30-year record of complete and total incompetence in government, where she claims to be for the little guy, but yet has done nothing.
So I'm happy to compare my 30 years of experience, what I've done for this country, trying to help in every way I could, especially kids and families, get ahead and stay ahead, with your 30 years, and I'll let the American people make that decision.
Well, I think I did a much better job. I built a massive company, a great company, some of the greatest assets anywhere in the world, worth many, many billions of dollars. I started with a $1 million loan. I agree with that. It's a $1 million loan, but I built a phenomenal company. And if we could run our country the way I've run my company, we would have a country that you would be so proud of. You would even be proud of it. And frankly, when you look at her real record, take a look at Syria, take a look at the migration, take a look at Libya, take a look at Iraq. She gave us ISIS because her and Obama created this huge vacuum.
He's right. She's completely destabilized the Middle East, and in the meantime, Trump has built a multi-billion-dollar enterprise. If he were in charge of this economy, who knows what heights we would have reached by now. The debate then turns towards foreign policy, which should be her strong point if she wasn't such an incompetent piece of dookie. Trump points out that her stupid policies have made the mess in the Middle East worse than ever.
If she did nothing, we'd be in much better shape. And this is what's caused the Great Migration, where she's taken in tens of thousands of Syrian refugees who probably, in many cases, not probably, who are definitely, in many cases, ISIS-aligned. And we now have them in our country. And wait till you see, this is going to be the great Trojan horse. And wait till you see what happens in the coming years. Lots of luck, Hillary. Thanks a lot for doing a great job.
Although his last line is hilarious, if Mrs. Bill wins, that could be one of the most terrifying and prophetic statements of this age. God help us if she becomes president. Wallace then asks Mrs. Bill about what she would do to ensure there's enough money for Medicare and Social Security in the future.
Will you consider a grand bargain, a deal that includes both tax increases and benefit cuts to try to save both programs?
Well, Chris, I am on record as saying that we need to put more money into the Social Security Trust Fund. That's part of my commitment to raise taxes on the wealthy. My Social Security payroll contribution will go up, as will Donald's, assuming he can't figure out how to get out of it. But what we want to do is to replenish the Social Security Trust Fund.
Good job, Donald. Call her out. She is a nasty beast. Finally, both candidates were asked to make a 1-minute closing statement.
Well, I would like to say to everyone watching tonight that I'm reaching out to all Americans, Democrats, Republicans, and independents, because we need everybody to help make our country what it should be.
Did you hear that? Make our country what it should be? Did she say that? Shouldn't that be a non-issue since her fellow leftist has been in power for 8 years? So what the hell is she saying? She'll be different from the current administration? Please, Barack is out there saying that Mrs. Bill will be a continuation of his stupid policies. We need an outsider to actually bring change to this country. Do I believe that Trump won this debate? Well, yes, but I'm biased. I wish he won the debate more decisively than he did. Should every Trump supporter do literally everything within their power to vote this November and bring as many Trump supporters as possible to the polls? Factin A right. Hey, do you love America? Well, America loves you, and so do I. Just as friends. Check out one of these videos. Don't forget to subscribe. And let's be Twitter buds. Let's keep this party rolling. Factin A.